Today we're going to show you how to make the best ribs you've ever had. No fancy smoker, no expensive barbecue, just a good old-fashioned domestic kitchen oven. We're also going to show you how to make the most amazing, sweet, tangy, smoky barbecue sauce. Make sure to smash that like button and let's begin. So just a quick warning to any pitmasters or barbecue traditionalists out there. We're going to be breaking a lot of rules, but it's going to be delicious. So we're going to start with our sauce. We need 1 can of tomatoes, and we want whole or chopped tomatoes. We don't want any purees. We want those tomato seeds intact, otherwise it's going to be bitter. Add about a cup of white wine vinegar. Now add about a cup of honey. You also might notice that we're not putting any ketchup or sugar in our barbecue sauce. And that's the secret, that's why it tastes so good. We're not even going to add salt, and you'll see why in a minute. So now we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, or any other high quality mustard. And now we're going to add about half a cup of soy sauce. In my opinion, soy sauce makes almost any barbecue item taste better. It can get a little salty, so that's why we're not adding any salt. Now add about a cup of high quality molasses. I'm using this amazing Spanish molasses today. So keep in mind that all the measurements are approximate, and we're going to focus more on the technique. Now we're going to add a whole clove of garlic, a little bit of your favorite chili, carrot, celery, onion, for some freshness, some really nice smoked Spanish paprika, which is basically smoke flavor in powder form, some oregano, and if we haven't broken enough rules already, we're going to add some white miso, about a tablespoon. So these are the racks of ribs that we're going to be using. So butchering wise, they're already pretty clean. There's a little bit of membrane here and there, but because of the way we're going to cook these, we don't have to worry about that too much. So I'm going to portion these before we cook them. Also keep in mind there's a thick side and a thin side. So to keep the portions relatively even, you want to leave about 2 or 3 bones on the thick side and maybe 5 or 6 even on the thin side. All the portions are not going to be exactly the same thickness or size, but we're going to try and even it out as much as possible. So these portions are looking pretty good. We're going to start cooking. So we're going to lay these on top of our sauce base here. No fancy techniques here, just try and submerge the ribs in the sauce as much as possible. And then we're going to cover with a little bit of water. So again, no salt, no sugar, no ketchup. So this is all going to reduce quite a bit, and it will become our amazing barbecue sauce. So cook this on low heat for about 45 minutes to an hour. Make sure to check your ribs every once in a while. The ones at the bottom are going to cook faster than the top, so you want to move them around as much as possible. So that tomato is not just for flavor. There's actually quite a bit of acid in it. It's going to help break these down. So we're just going to check our ribs. So some chefs like the ribs to be falling off the bone. Personally, I like to have a little bit of texture, a little bit of a bite, rather than just mush. This already smells amazing. So you want to check a couple of the racks, not just one. So these look pretty good. We're going to put them in the oven now. Transfer your ribs to a tray and strain your sauce. Drizzle a little over and then put the ribs in the oven for about 15 minutes on 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. Now we're going to add a tiny bit of flour to thicken up our sauce just a little bit. So this is the thickness I'm looking for. And the sauce is also really hot right now. When it cools down a little bit, when you serve it, it's going to thicken up even more. And the great thing about this recipe is there's going to be a lot of leftover sauce. We're only going to use about half of this, if that. So around this time, you want to taste your sauce. I'm going to add some black pepper and a little bit more oregano. So because we cooked our ribs in the sauce, we have that extra pork flavor. We've got the soy and the miso in there. This is like an umami bomb. This is one of the meatiest sauces you'll ever try. So now we're going to check our ribs. Been about 10-15 minutes. You see we already got some color on there. And now we're going to take our thickened sauce. We're going to glaze our ribs. Now the reason why we didn't thicken our sauce before is because it would burn. So now that we put on our thickened sauce, we need to keep a closer eye on our ribs. So we're going to put these back in, we're going to glaze them, put them back in for about another 5-10 minutes, and check every couple of minutes. And we should probably turn the heat down just a little bit. So about 10 minutes later, and these are looking absolutely amazing. I mean, look at that color, it's perfect. This smells like heaven. So we're going to put even more of that sauce on. And you'll notice how much thicker the sauce is now. It's cooled down just a little bit. And don't be stingy with the sauce, make sure you get plenty on there. And now we're going to plate this up. So nothing fancy, we're just going to put it on a platter for the center of the table. And we're going to put even more sauce on. No fancy plating today. This is all we need. So I just want to make something clear, I'm not slamming barbecues here. We have a Weber charcoal barbecue in the back, and it's one of my most favorite things to use. But because of the weather, we can only use it 6 months of the year. So if you don't have access to a real barbecue or smoker, give this recipe a try, it'll change your life. Just look at that color. I wish you could smell this. So this texture for me is perfect. It's not too dry, it's not completely falling off the bone, like it doesn't shred. You still get nice big pieces. It's tender, it's delicious. I mean, that's what barbecue is all about. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you'd like to see further recipes and techniques, casual to gourmet, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you enjoy our content, consider supporting us on Patreon. Happy cooking!